Most explanations of artificial intelligence start by throwing terms like neural networks or large language models at you. By the third sentence, anyone who doesn't code for a living has completely zoned out. Because of that poor communication, we end up relying on the digital tools we already know. We expect AI to work like a calculator executing a fixed formula or a search engine pulling up an exact web page. When those models fail, we start getting distracted by science fiction. We wonder if the machine is secretly conscious or if it actually understands the deeper meaning of what we're typing. Trying to figure out if there's a ghost in the machine is a complete dead end. It doesn't help you write a better proposal or analyze a confusing report. To actually get value out of this technology, we have to drop the sci fi panic. The machine isn't thinking, it is simply observing and applying the statistical patterns of human communication. Think about how you learn to write a great professional email. You don't memorize a rule book, you just read tens of thousands of emails over your career. Eventually, you subconsciously absorb the structural rhythm of what works, what sounds polite, and what gets a reply. That is roughly what AI language models have done, except instead of reading your inbox, they have read billions of digital texts, books, code, recipes, screenplays, and legal documents. It does not keep a giant filing cabinet of those original documents to look up later. What it builds instead is a compressed map of how language functions, a mathematical sense of which words, tones, and ideas naturally follow one another in a specific context. When you type in a prompt, the model uses that map. It predicts and generates its response one word at a time based entirely on those learned probabilities. Because it has absorbed such a staggering amount of human expression, the output looks remarkably like human thought. Nobody is actually home inside the server, but the illusion is entirely convincing. That unique ability to recognize and predict patterns makes AI exceptionally reliable at three specific everyday tasks. The first is synthesis. You can paste in a 50-page briefing document, a long email thread, or a confusing financial note, and within minutes, the model will extract the key points and reconcile the contradictions. The second is generation to a spec. Give the model clear instructions, a specific context, and a definition of what good looks like, and it will produce a highly usable first draft of a marketing proposal or a job description. When people get a terrible generic draft back, they usually blame the software, but 9 times out of 10, they gave it a vague prompt. The tool responded exactly to the level of detail it was given. The third task is conversation. This is the most underestimated use case. You can work through your logic out loud. You can test a delicate argument or ask the model to generate the smartest possible objection to the position you're about to take in a meeting. It doesn't automate your entire job, but it acts as a catalyst, completely removing the heavy lifting from the initial stages of your knowledge work. However, because this is a statistical prediction machine, it comes with three rigid, unyielding boundaries. First is the hallucination problem. The system predicts words. It doesn't reference an external database of absolute truth, so it can and will confidently present incorrect information as fact. Second is the local context blind spot. Out of the box, the AI cannot see your private email inbox, your company's internal files, or specific local networks. It only knows what you explicitly provide. Third is its inability to exercise genuinely ambiguous human judgment. It can map out the pros and cons of firing an underperforming vendor, but it cannot weigh the human nuance required to actually make the call. You can use the machine for structure, reasoning, and ideation, but you can never farm out the ultimate factual verification or the final critical decision. That always requires a human. To use this technology well, you have to permanently throw out the idea that you are talking to a search engine, a calculator, or a conscious being. Instead, adopt this mental model. Treat the AI as an incredibly well-read, completely tireless colleague who possesses zero ego. This colleague doesn't mind if you ask basic, embarrassing questions. It will happily draft the same document 6 different ways if you aren't satisfied. And if you ask, it will politely point out the fatal flaw in your reasoning. Right now, that frictionless assistant is sitting on your phone and your laptop, available around the clock for almost nothing. The machine doesn't think for you,
but it gives you the leverage to think faster, write clearer, and work better. The only question left is where you decide to start.